you need to be pro-Palestinian or you need to be pro-Israel. But rather, I think that the university was trying to avoid a student making a speech with such strong political opinions. And so when they asked for this speech to be approved, and it was approved, then they were very upset when it ended up being a speech that was very controversial and ended up getting them on the news. All the university said was, if you're going to give a commencement address speech, then it needs to be pre-approved. And I'm sure that Logan Rozos agreed to those conditions. And if the university did need approval and he did give them a draft, then why exactly would he go up there and change his speech, if not because he knew exactly that what he was doing was going to be very controversial? See, I suspect that Mr. Logan Rozos actually knew that this kind of speech was not going to be allowed when they asked for it to be approved. So I think Logan Rozos might have submitted a speech that he knew he was never going to give because he knew he wanted to give this pro-Palestinian speech. Now, in my personal opinion, there's a part of me that respects and admires this kind of action, but I also think that in this case, it was a form of rebellion, and it was also just not the right place or the right time. And that is exactly the problem that we have here. Not really a problem of censorship or freedom of speech or attacking pro-Palestinian activism. I think it's really a problem of wrong place and wrong time. You see, I want to be really clear with my video and my opinions. I support pro-Palestinian rights. I also support all pro-Palestinian activism, including protests, events, organizations, you name it. But there's a time and place for everything. And you see, I just don't think graduation is really the time to make those kinds of speeches. Instead, it should have been a time where you should have made a speech about celebrating the time you had, or appreciating the education that you got there, or looking forward to the future that you might have, or even just calling on your own experiences and your own friendships and relationships that you might have made there. But he decided to do none of that and decided to make a very controversial political speech. And listen, I think he could have made a speech that was much better, that could have actually talked on the things that he wanted to, but wasn't so divisive and so controversial. Like, for example, if he had just gone up there saying that he supports the rights of pro-Palestinian people, but that he's also calling for peace and calling for the war to end, and just expressing some kind of sympathy and empathy for the Israeli people, maybe even including something about a two-state solution, anything, some kind of nuance, but he didn't do any of that. And you see, that speech would have been powerful. That would have been a speech calling for unity and calling for people to be together, calling for peace, but he didn't do that. Instead, if you ask me, Logan Rozos went for shock value when he said things like we're supporting genocide and that's being live streamed to our phones. I think he knew that what he was saying was going to stir up a lot of trouble, and well, I think now he's facing those consequences.